You've used one thousands of times. But this simple office tool was born from a king's vanity, sparked brutal patent wars, and its medical cousin has killed over 400 people. The year is 1700. King Louis XV of France has a problem. His court generates mountains of paperwork, decrees, letters, financial records, and the only ways to bind them are primitive. Wax seals break, ribbons loosen, pins stab fingers and fall out. But Louis isn't just any bureaucrat. He's the Sun King's successor. Everything around him must be magnificent. So when he needs his documents bound, he demands something no one has ever created: a machine that fastens papers with metal wire. In the royal workshops, craftsmen face an impossible challenge. They must create individual metal fasteners, one at a time, by hand. Each wire bent into shape, each point sharpened with precision. And they succeed. The world's first stapler is born, handcrafted, encrusted with the royal insignia, worth a fortune. But here's the catch. Every single staple also had to be handmade. A jeweler would craft each one specifically for the king's documents. One document could take hours to fasten. The entire contraption was more art than tool, beautiful, functional, and completely impractical for anyone else. For over 100 years, the stapler remained a curiosity. Then the Industrial Revolution changed everything, including who would claim credit for inventing it. Welcome to 1866. America's industrial age is booming, and so is the race to patent the stapler. George McGill files the first patent for a bendable brass paper fastener. He's already wealthy from his previous inventions, and he sees the stapler as his next fortune. But McGill's device requires two separate actions: inserting the staple, then manually bending it. Clumsy, inefficient. In 1876, McGill showcases an improved model at Philadelphia's Centennial Exhibition. It's a hit. Orders pour in. Then, in 1877, Henry Heyl files a patent that changes everything. Patent number 195603. A machine that inserts and clinches a staple in a single blow. The first true modern stapler. McGill is furious. He rushes his own single-stroke stapler to market in 1878, but waits until 1879 to file his patent, desperately trying to beat the competition. The gloves come off. By the late 1880s, McGill, Heyl, and a dozen other inventors are locked in vicious legal battles. C.H. Gould files in England. Albert Kletzker files in the US. Everyone is suing everyone. For over 20 years, lawsuits choke the stapler industry. Inventors spend fortunes on lawyers instead of innovation. Some die before seeing a penny from their creations. Today, history books credit McGill as the inventor. But Heyl's patent came first for the technology we still use. He lost the patent war, and with it, history itself. But there's a darker side to this story, one no one talks about. To mass-produce millions of staples, factories needed steel wire, lots of it. Wire manufacturing in the late 1800s was one of America's deadliest industries. Around 1900, American workers died on the job at rates we can barely imagine today. Over 100 deaths every single day. Wire mills used massive rollers that could crush a man, furnaces that could burn him alive, cranes that dropped tons of steel without warning. The Pemberton Mill collapse in 1860 killed 145 workers and injured 166 more. Wire factories, steel mills, manufacturing plants. Death was part of the business model. And here's the cruelest part. When workers died, their families received almost nothing. About half got zero compensation. The rest averaged a few $100s. Every vintage stapler you see in an antique shop represents countless workers who risked, and often lost, their lives making the wire that holds our papers together. By the 1920s, workplace reforms finally arrived. Thanks to tragedies like the Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire that killed 146 workers in 1911. In 1923, the first modern stapler design emerges. Strips of glued staples. Load once, staple dozens of times. Prices crash from $7, over $100 in today's money, to just $1. Suddenly, staplers are everywhere. In 1937, Jack Linsky found Swingline. His obsession, making staplers that never jam. That satisfying click, engineered to perfection. Swingline understood that tools people enjoy using dominate the market. By 1950, the stapler had become invisible, the true mark of success. Desktop models for managers, personal staplers for the important. And that famous red swing line that would later star in Office Space, forcing the company to restart production of a discontinued color because of a movie prop. Now let's talk about the stapler's deadliest descendant. Surgical staplers revolutionized medicine in the 1970s. Faster than sutures, cleaner closures, lives saved. But between 2011 and 2019, the FDA received reports of a nightmare. 109,997 incidents, 11,181 serious injuries, 412 deaths. When a surgical stapler misfires during an operation, surgeons watch in horror as patients hemorrhage from severed arteries they can't control. The FDA issued its most serious warning, a Class Y recall, the kind reserved for devices that can kill you. Over the past 2 decades, 75 surgical stapler accidents have been investigated. Multiple fatalities, 42 separate safety alerts, Johnson & Johnson, Medtronic, the giants of medical devices now under intense scrutiny. The problem? Design flaws, manufacturing defects, user errors that the devices themselves create. Every year, patients die on operating tables because a tool designed to save lives mechanically fails. Meanwhile, the office stapler thrives, ignorant of its medical cousin's deadly reputation. Today we use over 3 billion staples daily worldwide, a $300 million industry built on a technology that sparked legal wars and industrial deaths. Those ornate Victorian staplers behind glass, they're monuments to the inventors who fought in court, the workers who died making wire, and the patients killed by malfunctioning medical versions. And this simple desktop model, unchanged since 1937, still reliable, still everywhere. Some companies now make stapleless staplers, cutting and folding paper without metal. No wire manufacturing, no surgical disasters, just physics. The stapler's journey is darker than its simple appearance suggests. Born from royal vanity, forged in patent wars that destroyed inventors' lives, mass-produced by workers who died in factories most of us never think about, and evolved into medical devices that continue to fail, sometimes fatally. Next time you reach for that stapler on your desk, remember, you're holding 300 years of human ambition, innovation, legal battles, industrial tragedy, and ongoing medical crisis. All compressed into one simple click. The objects we use every day have stories darker and stranger than we imagine. What should we investigate next? Drop your suggestions in the comments, and if this changed how you see the world around you, subscribe for more hidden histories.